the next few minutes, I'm going to break down how you can audit your website and figure out why you're losing some of those leads and how you can improve that website. So let's get started. So this is Screaming Frog, and Screaming Frog is a website crawling tool that kind of gives you all like a full health diagnostic on your website. So this is kind of how you can audit your H1s, your if the pages are working, all that fun stuff. So there's a free version that I'm using here. You can also buy a paid version if you wanted to dive a little deeper. But all you do is you type in your website and you hit crawl, and it spits out all your pages. I'm in the H1 tab, so let's move over to internal. But these are all your pages, and then over here you have pretty much tabs for every single thing you could be looking for. So here's like an overview that goes through your URLs. It makes sure you don't have 404s, which we don't. That's in the status code. A 404 means a page is broken or isn't being read properly, so you'd want to do a redirect there. It goes through issues, site structure, segments, response times, APIs, all that fun nerdy stuff. And then over here, you even have more tabs. So you can look at your external, which is a lot of our images and HubSpot forms and stuff like that. You can look at security, response codes, the URLs. You can go through your H1 and H2 tags. So this is kind of giving you an understanding of what Google reads as your headline on each page. You can go through content. So here's your word counts. So, there's rule of thumbs on how much word counts you should have on pages. This will kind of give you a breakdown of what those are. You'll go through your images and what the sizes of those images are, because load time is a big deal with websites. So because we use Webflow, we compress down many of our images. Some of them these are a little big even for our taste, but as you can see, only 2 of the 115 images or anything, that's mainly images, but images on the website are under a megabyte, so under 560 kilobytes. So that improves speed and load times. You can look at your canonicals, all this kind of nerdy stuff. It's like going to the doctor and getting a full health report on your website, from content to images to meta tags, all that good stuff. So again, this is free. You can search Screaming Frog on Google and get the free version, and then you can export this and kind of create a big document for your team to go over. So this is Google Page Speed Insights. So this is free. Just Google Page Speed Insights and you'll find it. I love this tool because it focuses on performance. So a lot of this data is in Screaming Frog, but Screaming Frog focuses on the full health audit of your website. What this does is it focuses strictly on performance, so how it performs on mobile and how it performs on desktop. So you'll kind of plug this in, it'll pop up real quick, and you'll see here performance, accessibility, best practice, and SEO. So you can switch between desktop and mobile. Now, mobile performance speeds are complicated. It depends a lot on many factors. I'm not going to get into the nitty gritty of that, but 60, I think we could do a little better, but 60 isn't bad. We have a very image heavy website, so a lot of times the things it wants for performance go against design or script. So I'm sure over time we're going to kind of work this up, but a lot of times what we'll end up doing is seeing clients go from like 40 to 80. We built this organically out of Webflow. We didn't convert from WordPress, but the jump you'll see from WordPress to Webflow a lot of times is insane. And if you're on WordPress, you're just going to have to kind of work in the boundaries they have to speed this up, because we do see a lot of fast WordPress sites. It just requires a very intelligent team and developer to do. But if you look on desktop, we're pretty much A+ across the board. And kind of what you do here is you go through, it tells you how long it takes to paint to load the first content, the largest piece of content. And then you kind of go down here and it'll even diagnostic a little bit where these large images are. So like we saw on Screaming Frog, we had that 2 megabyte image. We can probably go back, compress that down, and it would help this out a little bit. But as you go down, it breaks down each section, accessibility. So it goes through everything from like, do you have background and foreground color contrast, best practices, SEO, which is super solid on our end, but this is all performance based. So using both of these tools is important, because Page Speed Insight isn't going to give you that information on your H1, H2, images, meta, all that stuff. And it will give you some performance information, but you kind of have to dig a little harder for it. Whereas here, it's pretty straightforward. It's kind of like looking at a test that Google gives you. So this is the actual speed test that they do, which contributes to your performance. So in the world of SEO, we often think about keywords in H1 and what we're putting in, which is a lot of screaming frog. But this performance stuff is as important, because if your website's not performing well and not loading fast, you're going to get dinged no matter, how good your keywords are. So these two tools together is awesome. But I will say, especially if you're not a web developer or you're new to understanding this, these tools can get complicated. So even if we go back to Screaming Frog, you can see here like how much data is here, and you really have to understand these things and understand what an X frame is and kind of understand what's wrong to fix it. It's like kind of a big printout where you then have to learn what these individual things are. So we have created a way that is completely free to give you this information very quickly. So what we've done is simplified the process, and it's completely free. You can head over to travmediagroup.com and click the button that says free website audit. Give us your name, your email, and then you'll get this page where you type in your domain. So same process, just plug your domain in, and then you're going to sit here and wait for this PDF to load. And what this PDF is going to have is a combination of all that information put in one PDF that you can share with your team. And on top of that, it's going to give you actual task items to do. So kind of the problem with Screaming Frog and the performance is if you don't really understand it to the depth that someone like I would, or a other web developer team, you can right here in this PDF get actual action items that are far more digestible that you and your team can put into place today. So here we are again. This again rated us on links, page speed, on-page SEO, usability, performance, and social. So the metrics that we saw in the performance on page speed insights are included here. These metrics aren't the same. So how it determines SEO isn't the same way the performance SEO is determined. So even though we got 100 on performance SEO, it found enough wrong with other things to lower us down to an 82. So if you go through here, and you can download this right here, you can print it. It has your website right here. If you go through this, right here is the money, the recommendations. So get back up to the top. Some of these are hyperlinks that'll take you places. But if you go through the recommendations, it's, execute a link building strategy, which we haven't done an amazing job at. And a lot of companies, especially newer companies, don't have those backlinks. That's what it's talking about. So a backlink is when another website links to your website. So if you get a PR report or you're in a news article, you'll actually get a authority boost because a website like the New York Times might have your thing in there, your domain in there. Add alt tag images, increase your page text content. So it's actually saying that some of our pages are too low, which again, now if you have Screaming Frog too, you could go back and see those page counts, but that information's also in here. But you can kind of go down this list, and it's actually things you can implement today. It's not, this puzzle or this treasure map. And if you go through here, it kind of just has all this information. Here's your H1. Here's different keywords you ranked for. Here are image attributes that need work. Here's do you have SSL enabled? Do you have HTTPS redirected? Do you have a robotext? This is something a lot of people don't have, is the robots.txt. Same with a sitemap. It tells you what analytic tools you're using. It tells you where you rank in different countries based on your name. It goes through here. Again, here's the link. So you can see here we're on Anchor, Stitcher, which has a podcast I was on, UpCity, which we used to work with, a lot of podcast stuff. These are all our backlinks and what the domain strength is. So you can kind of learn that a little bit. Here's the information on page performance. So here's that mobile ranking. So we saw 60. This is Google's page speed insight. So So our tool actually has Google page speed insights embedded in it. So you don't even need to use that. Same with Screaming Frog. This kind of takes the highlights of Screaming Frog and puts it all together with Google page insights, where you don't have to actually do the two tools and then try to tie them together. It does it for you. So this is the same information we just looked at on Google, and it talks about, ways you can improve it. This is your load time. So again, we even want to be a little lower, but you want to be below 5 megabytes. So this will kind of tell you how much information's on your page, how much images, all that fun stuff. So if you don't want to go through the process of downloading Screaming Frog and using Google Page Speed Insights and then sitting there and trying to figure it out, head over to travmediagroup.com. There's a button on almost every page. It's in our footer that says free website audit. And this tool is 100% free. There is no cost. You don't have to pay us anything. You just type this information in, you get hit download. So now you got that report. You can send it around to your team. I mean, this is a 20-page report. So it's pretty dense. It's very high level, and it is enough to get you started. Again, you go up here and you get your action items. So you can start today going to our website, spending 1 minute typing in your domain and having action items to actually get your website going. And if you want to learn a little more about the report, as you saw here, we do have a schedule a meeting to go over your report button. You can click that. It'll take you to my Calendarly, and you can pick a time, and I will sit there and happily go over that report with you, free on the house. So again, Screaming Frog, Google Page Insights, awesome free tools. But if you want to simplify your process, if you want to save time and you want to get action items in less than 1 minute, head over to travmediagroup.com. Totally free. Appreciate you guys.